exercises and things we can do when we get headaches out there. I've listed a few other herbs on here as well, and D-L-phenylalanine, which we oftentimes is used to help kill pain. Now, it's an amino acid that you take on an empty stomach that raises your endorphin levels, and just like exercise, when you raise your endorphin levels, it can help you kill pain. These other herbs have been used for centuries for headaches, centuries. So they're time tested, and some of them are antispasmodic. Valerian calms and settles the nerves down, and feverfew helps and aids with some vasoregulation in combination with magnesium and vitamin B2. There are actually formulas out there for migraines in which feverfew is used. Now, maintaining vascular health, we mentioned vitamin Bs. Well, vitamin C, second most important supplement that you can take if you have chronic headaches, because it maintains the vascular flexibility. If you get hardening of the arteries because you're borderline scurvy, which I think a good portion of the population has, then you're not going to ever see any proper constriction or dilation of the blood vessels, and that can lend itself to poor circulatory and increase in headaches. Now, what's interesting is I know a lot of people grab aspirin, Tylenol, acetaminophen, and other type of pain meds in order to help them with their headaches. The only problem with that is that can often make, and that should be a C, chronic headaches worse, because it can interfere with the body's own natural ability to fight headaches and pain. So I scratch my head a little bit. I know a lot of docs are recommending aspirin therapy, but be mindful, if a person has chronic headaches, this could be increasing their inability to fight off pain, or if they have chronic pain. So being aware of that, discuss that with your doc if you have chronic headaches. I hope this helps. If you need a little bit more details, you can research it on your own, and I do have books that you can look at and refer to for research on headaches. Next, we're going to be going into the fitness portion of our show, and I'm going to be showing you some exercises that you can use for headaches. Thank you. Hi, welcome to the fitness portion of our show, and today I'm going to demonstrate a couple of exercises that can be helpful for headaches if you're experiencing them. First, the tension headache. And what I kind of like to do on this one is you kind of bend over, and right at the base of the skull you're going to find right the little bones right in here, right before it turns into your neck. You're going to hold those with your thumb, and you're going to just kind of pressure point that and massage those areas for a couple of minutes. That can also help with some of the cervical pain that you may be experiencing. This feels really good. Maybe I'll just stay right here. Nah. That can be very helpful. You can do that a couple of times a day, maybe to help release some of that tension. As well, it's always nice to have somebody that can massage your shoulders, massage up and down the back of the neck would be helpful. Maybe you can exchange with a coworker. But we also are seeing a lot of sinus issues right now too, and sinus headaches. And actually this is a pressure point that some acupuncturists will use with needles that we call acupressure, that can help drain some of the sinus pressure out on this exercise. And what we do is we look for the bone structure around the eyes, and what we're going to do is we're going to put pressure right on the eyebrow, right at that base, and just kind of hold it there. Okay, just kind of hold it there. And probably for a good minute, and then shift down here, and then just right below the eye socket here, we're going to press right here on the sinuses and kind of hold that as well too. And that actually can help bring out some of the drainage, make it pretty quick, hopefully so that you're going to be experiencing less sinus pain and relieve some of the pressure. You sometimes see people will rub right here too. There are some pressure points in this particular area for frontal lobe types of headaches that can actually alleviate as well. Oftentimes we forget to breathe though and get oxygenation, especially with stress. So one of my favorite exercises is for you to breathe in through your nose and exhale through your mouth, holding your tongue up all the way to your roof of your mouth. So you're going to breathe in, hold it for about 10 seconds, and let the air out slowly. Now, we don't want to hyperventilate, and we want to do it kind of slow. But if you can do that for a couple of minutes, a couple of times a day, that can help oxygenate the brain and maybe help alleviate some of the stress as well. Next, we're going to be moving on to the research portion of our show. Thank you. Hi, welcome to the research portion of our show, and with us today is Ralph Turchiano. Ralph?
Thank you for that intro. Well, you want to save the lives of 1 million children worldwide per year? Well, according to a new study by the Cochrane researchers, there's an easy way to do it. And it's very simple. It's just called the supplementation of vitamin A. The Cochrane researchers said they strongly endorse the continuation of vitamin A programs, which reduce the incidence of measles and diarrhea, which ultimately save lives. What they did is they reviewed 43 trials looking at over 215,000 children and realized by supplementing with vitamin A between infancy and 5 years of age, it reduced the risk of all, and I don't say some, all causes of death by 24%. Compare any vaccine or any vaccine program whatsoever to just something as simple as adding vitamin A to their system. And they said overall, giving vitamin A capsules reduced the risk of death from any cause by 24% compared to a placebo. And they said this equates to saving the lives of almost 1 million children per year. They said giving vitamin A is associated with a reduction in the incidence of diarrhea and measles, as well as the number of child deaths due to these diseases, which I find quite amazing. In the United States, we're recommending against the use of vitamin A supplementation with our population, while the rest of the world is recommending for vitamin A supplementation, not only with children, but also pregnant women to reduce the risk of all causes of death. Something really interesting that you may want to look at talking to your doctor about, but review the facts, not just pure speculation. And now we come down to depressed individuals. Well, you remember a little while ago we looked at depressed people, and they found out it may not be so much a serotonin issue as much as an inflammation issue. Well, this coming from the December issue of Archives of General Psychiatry. What they discovered is today's society, or modern society, may be too clean. They said rates of depression in younger people have steadily grown to outnumber rates of depression in the older population. And researchers think it may be because of the loss of healthy bacteria. Again, this is from the December issue of Archives of General Psychiatry. According to the authors, the modern world has become so clean, we are now deprived of the bacteria our immune systems came to rely over long ages to keep inflammation at bay. And they said, we have also known for a long time people with depression, even those who are not sick, have higher levels of inflammation. Since ancient times, these benign organisms, microorganisms I should say, were often referred to as old friends. They knew about it thousands of years ago, something we forgot about until just recently today. They have taught our immune system to tolerate other harmless microorganisms normally, and in the process reduce inflammation that has become linked to the development of modern diseases from cancer to depression. And they said, quote, if the administration of these old friends or beneficial bacteria improves the depression, the authors conclude, then basically they made a major advance in far as a very common disease in a lot of individuals. Now, you want to protect your children from getting asthma? Well, this study, I want to say, was done in 3 major colleges: Harvard Medical School, Boston, University of Tsukuba, Japan, and University of Birmingham, United Kingdom. You want to reduce the risk of your child getting asthma, which has increased sharply over the past few decades? Get the flu. They have now provided what they say is concrete evidence in animals to support the idea and identified the underlying mechanism to explain the protection which the flu gives your child from protecting them from asthma later on in life. In the study, the infection of mice with influenza A protected the mice as adults in a model of asthma, meaning influenza A protected them from asthma later on. Protection was associated with the expansion of an immune cell or a subset of immune cells known as NKT. Importantly, NKT cells mediated protection in the model of asthma studied, and it can be induced by treating mice with either the flu, or ironically, Helicobacter pylori. Something to think about as time goes on. The flu may be something that's necessary for children to catch in order to modulate the immune system later on. Maybe something that the government program should think about. What's more important, sick for 3 or 4 days or asthma the rest of your life? Now, talking about the rest of life, we spend more time sick now than a decade ago. This out of December issue of Journal of Gerontology. What a 20-year-old can expect is to live one less healthy year over his lifespan than a 20-year-old a decade ago, even though life expectancy has grown. And they said the period of life spent with serious disease or loss of function and mobility has actually increased in the last few decades. And this is not because of people living longer. This is because you're healthy less years. What they said, while people might expect to live more years with disease simply as a function of living longer, in general, the researchers show that the average number of healthy years has decreased since 1998. We spend fewer years of our lives without disease even though we live longer. In short terms, the 20-year-old male in 1998 could expect to live another 45 years without disease. So basically, we would not start getting sick until about the age of 65. Today, a 20-year-old man would only spend about 43.8 healthy years. What that means is he'll start getting sick at about 63 3/4 years. Not a tremendous advance for medicine we should talk about, and especially not as far as keeping people healthy. Immobility, well, a 20-year-old would expect to only spend, 1998 would only have 3.8 years with mobility issues, arthritis and things along those lines. A 20-year-old today will spend about 5.8 years with mobility issues, not being able to get up and down on their own, out of bed, the whole lineup. We are living longer, but we are living more sick years than ever before. And the authors conclude, there's substantial evidence we have done little to date to eliminate or delay disease while we prevented death from diseases. From 1998 to 2006, cardiovascular disease and cancer and diabetes have all increased dramatically over the age of 30. And not only that, the proportion of the population with multiple diseases has also increased dramatically. Something to think about, living longer but not living healthier. And as a side note, instructions and over-the-counter medication. What the December 1st issue of JAMA, they looked at cough syrups, anti-diarrhea medicines, everything else like that. They found that out of these OTC medications that represented 99% of the market, 99% had directions on the bottle's labels and dose markings on the device that did not match. 99% of the medicines produced for children do not match the dose from the bottle to the little spoon they put inside the box. Well, thank you very much, and that will conclude it.
Excellent, Ralph. Thank you very much. We appreciate you watching the show. Research, learn. Thank you.